Hello and welcome to the special edition of the election show. The trends so far clearly indicate a landslide in favor of NDA. The alliance has routed the rival Mahagathbandhan, and as actual results tickle in, it could be a two-thirds majority for them. To discuss this, I'm joined by Ashok Mishra, senior journalist, Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, author, columnist, and someone who observes RSS and BJP closely. I also have with me Dr. Sanjay Kumar, professor at AN College, which is part of Patliputra University and a very reputed institution, and Puneet Yadav, political editor with the Federal. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining the show.
Thank you.
I would like to begin, all of you, your first observation, first with Ashok Mishra. What do you think of this landslide? Obviously, you didn't expect it.
Yeah, it was unexpected. What we saw on the ground is the results are quite different, and not only quite different. We were hopeful that it will be and we visualize that it is a one-and-one contest. It's a very close contest, but such kind of results are completely unexpected. We will discuss the
Okay,
factors later on, but at the moment, one
sure,
liner is it is unexpected.
sure. What about Nilanjan?
Well, my first impression is that this is a mandate for status quo. It is not a mandate for change of any kind, not a change of the political leadership, not a change of the style of governance, not a change of the kind of developmental model which has been pursued by the government over the last several years. That is my first thing. There's also my first impressions is also that this is once again the Tina factor at work. There is no alternative for this combination of Nitish Kumar and Narendra Modi led BJP.
Okay,
Nitish
fine.
Kumar has
Yeah,
performed quite well. JDU, meaning has performed quite well against the expectations. What were there previously that Nitish Kumar's health was supposed to be declining? You have to understand that people in Bihar tend to respect their icons, and Nitish Kumar definitely is one of the political icons of Bihar. Not the only one at the moment, but the point is that they would not have, people have not rejected him. It's a kind of that he was seen some as some kind of a benign uncle. Another very important thing is that this charge of the RJD-led alliance ushering in a jungle Raj, I do not think that the RJD has a counter to it. They do not know as to how to neutralize this campaign. So there is always this fear that there is going to be a lawlessness and the hegemony of the Yadavs and to some extent the Muslims also along with them who are going to dominate the social space. Ultimately, you have to understand that people are interested in knowing that who is going to be controlling their local police thana, and they possibly had memories which is passed down in families from previous generations, that how it used to be there during the time that Lalu was there, when there was a certain amount of empowerment of the local caste, but then it got completely became quite perverse, and that is how it ended up, and finally the RJD was voted out in 2005. I also think that the alliance of the NDA was much more seamless and worked to adding to each other, whereas the Mahagathbandhan, it was not an alliance which worked in any case, either on paper or on the ground. So those are the first readings of mine. We of course will be looking at the data much more clearly, because from what I have been seeing, only about one third of the votes have been counted so far. So as I say that, well, it's going to be a long night.
right. Thank you, Nilanjan. I think last time also the results came in pretty late. It went up to 1 o'clock in the night, I think, by next day. But then the direction overall still seems to be moving towards NDA without any
This it.
doubt. Puneet, what would you say? What would be your initial observation before we widen up the discussion?
Well, my initial observation, Srini, is that this is uh, very contrary to what one saw on the ground. And while it was seen to be a very close contest on in most seats, most districts. This is not something one had anticipated, and I'm not just going to say that it's unanticipated. It's against what we saw on the ground, but it's also against what a lot of people from the BJP and JDU who we interacted with would tell us in off-record conversations. So
Right.
a very unexpected result in that sense.
Right. We'll take it from there. Dr. Sanjay Kumar, what's your opening remark? How do you see these results?
It's very surprising, and it is very surprising to JDU and BJP also, because last yesterday the office of BJP was completely deserted, while the office of JDU and RJD was just very enthusiastically they was beating drums and all that. So it is very surprising. But one thing is very clear: the whatever percentage of votes, around 10% increase of vote this time. So people were expecting that that will go against the establishment. But now one thing has been established, that this was for the status quo and for in favor of government. This is very much clear. So what was expected, that there will be a close finish and there will be close fight, it all speculation got doomed.
Okay, so you are saying it's a kind of Dr. Sanjay Kumar. You are saying it's a kind of a status quo, which is what Nilanjan also saying in some sense. But then let us look at factors one by one, which when the election started, when the electioneering started initially, we are looking at it. One was the electoral arithmetic which both sides worked out. If you had to look at NDA, they obviously probably they started with an advantage of about 4.5% extra votes because of having a better alliance. You know, because this time not only just it was an alliance between JDU, BJP, but also LJP joined them, and then you already have other smaller parties like on their side. So that factor was there as a bigger alliance. Uh, and then the campaign which was run, where they probably didn't show any great difference of opinion, as long as we saw the various media reports, it didn't come through as if there was any rift happening within the alliance. And obviously the resources and other factor like last minute um, 10,000 rupees, kind of relief to women for starting their own businesses. How much you think these factors, let us begin with the coalition, was responsible for perhaps this kind of result?
So you are asking me?
Yes, please.
I am supposed to speak.
Yes, please.
Uh, yeah. So far, 10,000 of loan which was given to women, that worked. That was a kind of master stroke, that I believe, and that it has worked. And in the counter, what Tejashwi had announced, 30,000 uh, in each and every women's account after when he wins the election, that went that didn't work. So that issue is there. That thing is there. But when you see the alliance from very beginning, when the election was announced, in the earlier phase, uh, NDA was a bit well-knitted alliance in the very beginning. But when the electoral process went on, then there was a bit disintegration in that alliance. And on the contrary, Mahagathbandhan was getting a bit, all those ingredients were getting bit closer, and it was a well knit alliance. But what happened, and that is also very surprising, and that is to be researched when the final results come, that what went wrong with the Mahagathbandhan, that they poorly just performed that way, because they are not in the very much in the fray. Only 27 seats, and moreover Indian National Congress, which claims it to be a national party, they are getting only 4. So far, Rujhan is concerned, and left, they are on the contrary, they are getting 6. So these entire everything is upside down. So it's very surprising, and this NDA is moving to two-third majority. It is also very surprising. So, what the close finish was to be expected, it has turned into a one-sided game.
Okay. I'll come to Mishra ji. Mishra ji, just tell me, let us look at the alliance from the other perspective. The way Mahagathbandhan was put together. They also had an advantage because the MY combination was expected to be perhaps strongly with them. And on the top of it, they were supposed to add more EBC votes. And that's why, more, of course, Congress party, I'll come later to Puneet to talk about it. But I think besides Yadav's other, candidates are also given a substantial number of seats by RJD. But it didn't seem to work out on the ground. Did they got this social equation wrong?
I will not say that, Srini, because they got the social equation wrong. In fact, if you, at the moment, the figures we have on from the Election Commission, the the RJD has not performed well in terms of percentage of votes it got. Last time in fact, the percentage of votes this time the RJD has so far got, it's just 0.5% less than what it got in the last 2020 election. So the combination and the caste combination they tried to make was wrong. It would not be justified to say that. But the number of seats, of course, have fallen down from 74, 75 to now nearly 30 seats. And Mahagathbandhan is having only 35, 37 seats. So there is something, maybe lack of coordination among the voters. Maybe the RJD and the Mahagathbandhan were not able to, manage their voters. Their groundwork was not good vis-a-vis what BJP had, what the JDU had. And moreover, it's a 30,000 rupees for women. It did not work. In fact, people started questioning about it. How can he give one job to each family and 30,000 to women in Bihar? The JDU, the NDA have already distributed rupees 10,000 to nearly 1 point something crore women. So the Mahagathbandhan got it wrong.
So,
Number of on many fronts, it could not match the organizing capacity of the RSS. We have information. It has been reported that nearly 10,000 RSS workers are working on the ground in favor of the NDA, and at the same time, the efforts made by Rahul Gandhi and Tejashwi Yadav and other Mahagathbandhan leaders were not that, it lacked coordination somehow. These are the factors which seem to be prima facie, these are the factors which seem to be true about
no,
Mahagathbandhan's
but
loss in terms
just,
of.
I'm sorry, I'm interjecting you. I'm interjecting you. Can I
Yeah, yeah.
then ask you, if you're saying, you're relating other factors, let us come back to the coalition. Do you think the announcement of Tejashwi as a chief ministerial candidate, which Congress was dragging its feet for quite some time, that
Yeah.
the worry was that it, as a dominant party, it could drive away the other smaller, social segments. Has that happened? Is it also a factor here?
Look, people
The
say,
SY
but
factor,
talk about it.
counter
In
the,
fact, yeah, in fact, if you go to the ground, it's a common perception that the dominance of Yadavs drives away the other backward caste, especially the extremely backward caste, EBCs. So this was the narrative, doing the rounds in Bihar's rural belt. So this was the narrative. So Yadav's dominance may have, alienated the EBCs, which has been a fact in the past. But at the moment, if you see in terms of the percentage of votes, it doesn't seem to be, true, because the RJD has, and the Mahagathbandhan has, especially the RJD has the number of votes it has, in terms of percentage, it's not far less than what it has, garnered last time. So these are the factors. The dominance of Yadavs may be one factor where the NDA was successful in, instilling it in the minds of the other backward caste, especially the EBCs in Bihar before the elections. There is one more thing, as you pointed out. The announcement of Tejashwi Yadav as the chief minister candidate on the last moment, and by the Congress. Congress was initially trying to drag its feet from this commitment, but eventually they had to do it, and they did it, but it was on the last moment. And so there was problems in the seat distribution, the problems in selection of candidates, the problems in the Mahagathbandhan is still fighting on more than 10 seats. There are triangular fights among the Mahagathbandhan allies itself. So these are the factors which we can say that it contributed to the loss of RJD and Mahagathbandhan eventually. And the Congress performed very poorly in this. And the VIP, which was trying to project as the VIP chief, who was trying to project himself as who was projected as the deputy chief minister, could not do well, could not cut much ice among the voters, as the result so far shows.
okay. I'll come
Yeah.
to Nilanjan first, and then I'll go to Puneet. Nilanjan, I want to ask you a question. You earlier said so status quo, more or less, and you said that people are more or less went for Nitish because there was no candidate against it. Is it like uh, parliamentary election, the state elections also turning more presidential in that sense? That what all mattered at the end was who's going to be the Mukhyamantri. And though BJP did not announce explicitly that Nitish Kumar will be the next CM, but it was understood that he had BJP had lot more going if they don't, because BJP is supported by JDU at the center. So, so is that the reason that people thought that he could be a better CM, and especially women who favored him in large number, which resulted in this kind of results, where it was also felt that if Nitish is brought back, his relationship with the center would bring them better goodies, improvements to the state.
Look, as far as women are concerned, I think this 10,000 rupee dole which was given out is actually, we have to look at it that this is actually a legal means of buying votes. Somebody at some point has to put a stop to it, otherwise we are going to completely corrupt the electoral system. The ruling party everywhere is going to be continuing ceaselessly. This is what is going to happen. Reason why I'm saying we saw the same thing happen started essentially with Madhya Pradesh. There used to be these doles earlier, but this election event handing over of cash in the hands of women voters, is very significant. Started in Madhya Pradesh, then copied in Maharashtra, also to similar benefits, and also in Bihar. That is why you had this huge, overwhelming turnout of women voters. And my personal guess is, when we see the post poll, data which might have been recorded by various, academic institutions like the CSDS, we will see that possibly there was a far greater support for the NDA among the women voters than compared to the men voters. Among the men, there is also this issue, that I have been saying that this image of Jungle Raj has stuck to the RJD, despite the fact that Tejashwi Yadav, is a new generation leader. He is seen too much in his father's mold. Somebody asked me to just check out the tweet by Tejaswi Yadav this morning, after the results started coming in, that the battle is going to continue, and it had a kind of a cartoon character. That is what was told to me. And there's this person who's standing with a big stick in the hand. Now, big stick in the hand is exactly what the image of Jungle Raj is. So please change your image. Try to become more humble. Also, if you have to win elections, learn from the playbook of your opponent. Learn the way Modi or Amit Shah they slog. I have not seen any political leader in India, at least in my 4.5 decades of journalistic experience, working so hard to retain power. I'm not just saying only for elections. Their preparation for the next elections begins on the night of the declaration of the result. Today, the verdict will be out in Bihar. They will start preparing for 2029 or local body elections if there are going to be between now and 2029 in Bihar. That is the kind of commitment that they have. You cannot defeat a party which is led by the BJP, a party or an alliance led by the BJP without the kind of organizational network, or at least a pale shadow of that kind of an organizational network, to somebody like the BJP. Yes, people wanted change. Reporters who have traveled have said that people wanted change, that people wanted to vote for change. But vote for who? There is no alternative to Nitish Kumar. There is no alternative to the BJP, because the other one is, has the negative image of being, empowering local thugs from the Yadav community. So that memory is very strong. That is the biggest problem.
Okay. So you say there is a Tina factor, and you also said therefore it became more, in a sense that chief minister candidate became very important factor.
Yes.
Okay. I'll come to Puneet. Puneet, I want to ask you this thing. You've been observing Congress party. Of course, you made a point right at the beginning that the ground reality doesn't match what you are seeing today as results. Two issues. One, were the voters very silent and therefore you completely missed what was happening on the ground? Were they not expressing very clearly? Was it that it was your interpretation that uh, they would be favoring a certain party? Is that what, or were they explicit while talking to you that they'll be favoring a certain section of people, which you found hasn't happened? And the second thing is, was it that the entire campaign of SIR, which was done by, you know, Rahul Gandhi, led by Rahul Gandhi, some way petered midway? It lost its effect after initial beginning. What are the reasons?
Well, Srini, I think over the years, with these surprising results being thrown in election after election, state after state, several of them very contrary to what various reporters, I'm not just saying about myself, have seen on the ground, and then, what they see in results. I think uh, there's also been a sort of change in terms of how we then start analyzing the result when it comes out. And there's all of a sudden a sort of rush to disprove everything that we have ourselves observed and written about and commented about. So I'm not I am certainly not in the mood to be doing that, in saying that this result was expected or whatever. The fact is that when we were traveling and meeting people, uh, you asked if they were explicit or they were very silent. They were very explicit. It was not an election where people were being cagey about who they want to back or what they feel about the incumbents, what they feel about the opponents. They were very vocal, and they were vocal across castes. It wasn't as if the dominant castes, or the Yadavs or the Bhumiyars were speaking up, and the EBCs and the Dalits were very quiet, and they quietly went and voted, and all that. I went to various these Musahar tolas, and the Nishad tolas, and all of that, and people were very vocal in their choice, and that choice isn't reflected in the result. Secondly, as far as SIR is concerned, yes, I would say that the only place where the SIR sort of came across as an electoral issue, uh, not in the sense of the SIR per se, but in the branding of people as Ghuspetia, as infiltrators, was in the Simanchal districts, where it was very visible. It was also there in, in a scattered manner in other parts of the state. But in Simanchal, it was something that you would see in all four of the Simanchal districts. But then you look at the result, you know, all 24 assembly segments in Simanchal. Out of those 24, 15 have gone for, as of now, as things stand now, 15 seem to be going the NDA's way, and including constituencies where, which have a very large number of Muslims who were also extremely vocal in saying that they are not going to vote for anybody else but the Mahagathbandhan this time, because they were angry at being labeled Ghuspetia. They were also angry, visibly angry, at Asaduddin Owaisi coming and saying कि आपका काम दरी बिछाने का है, RJD आपसे दरी बिछवाती है. And there was a lot of anger against that. But then you look at the figures, and the MIM seems to be holding on to its 5 seats. It's as of now tied with the Congress, both parties getting 5 seats each. So, and then, this whole thing of 10,000 rupees being given, and that being a major factor, and there being no other alternative. In a lot of constituencies where I went, there was, what was absolutely undeniable was that people wanted Nitish as the chief minister. But at the same time, they were also very angry with the BJP. And a lot of these constituencies, people would tell you that Nitish's administration has sort of administrative skills have declined ever since the BJP has become Havi. The BJP has started controlling him, and that has kind of led to a downsliding of administration under Nitish. And so this time we have to consolidate behind Nitish, but the same consolidation will not happen for the BJP. But then you look at the numbers, 90 for the BJP as of now, 82 for Nitish. So, and Nitish, as I was saying in an earlier program, Nitish has now been left with no room to maneuver. Tomorrow, if the BJP turns around and says that we're not going to make you the chief minister, he's been left with no room to maneuver. He can't switch the alliance, go, like the past, go to the RJD side and form the government, because the numbers are clearly not there.
Right. Yeah. So I think you made very interesting points. I'll come to Dr. Sanjay Kumar. You constantly use the expression the whole outcome was surprising. You said it in two, 3 times that the outcome was extremely surprising. It wasn't expected. Now, what do you think? After all, after the these kind of results we are seeing, we'll have to understand this, unravel it, and what could be the reason for this. Was it that SAR as a factor didn't work, or is it factor that NDA managed to form better social equation, or do you buy this argument of BJP that there has been a tectonic shift now, and the politics in Bihar is no longer caste centric? And people are now moving away from anti-incumbency to pro-incumbency. And the character of Bihar, which was known in the past, which has done Sampurna Kranti and other such things in the past, from being anti-establishment to pro-development to pro-aspiration, and therefore you're seeing a huge change. Do you buy these arguments?
So far, the first issue which you raised, that the politics of Bihar is turning. Earlier it was caste ridden, and now it is pro development. What you are saying, I still believe that this election, even this election, was absolutely caste ridden. And now here, caste has become a kind of class. I believe in this theory that caste and class overlap most of the time. This thing is very much clear. And uh, again, the narrative will be built that wholly, absolutely, just to have development in the state, they have voted for development. This narrative will be said, but that is not true, in my opinion. So far, sympathy vote is concerned, no doubt, Nitish Kumar has got some sympathy vote because what treatment he was getting from BJP, that is not hidden. So right from very beginning. So whether I am not saying that he should be only he should be made CM, there were other candidates, but the way he was pushed back, so that sympathy went to in his favor, and that is also one of the factors. So far, women turnout is concerned, there is a pattern what I have analyzed, where in those areas where women have come out and voted abundantly for any party, that was JDU, and those areas where women have not come out, there JDU is a loser. I mean a bit loser, though they have won those seats. But this women factor is still working. It has just I can say that they have rallied behind Nitish Kumar, and 10,000 rupees factor is there. But you see, for the last 20 years, Nitish Kumar is doing a lot of work for women, for their welfare, for their development, for their empowerment. So these things are also behind the scene, behind this result. What we are going to get, just it will be almost stabilized by 7 or 8 o'clock. So this is the scenario. And one thing is very much clear. Here I agree with Mr. Puneet that Nitish Kumar has no choice other than to be remain in the NDA, because on the other side, on the other Gathbandhan, there is not that much of figure, number of seats with which Nitish can form, and Nitish can have an upper hand in the NDA. That is also true. And this result might not have very much thrilled Nitish Kumar, though he is getting more than 72, 73, because you see LJP is also getting around 22, 23 seats, and when you combine these two seats, BJP and LJP, it comes around 110. They are slightly short of only 13 seats. They can manage, but I am also sure that Nitish is not going to leave the alliance. That is also true. And in the back, BJP will try to push him out, say after 1 or 2 years. This may also happen because they might have started just to get their own CM candidate, not now, but after 2 years. So that is also very much true. And RJD has lost, routed, you can say, this election because they have no organizational basis in comparing what JDU and BJP has on the ground level. So this is also very much true. They are just coming up like once in a rainy season, and they want to sway the whole election. Now the pattern of the election has changed, and you will have to all the time, all the 5 years, you will have to very competitive and very very alert. You will have to prepare for the election. What Mr. Mukhopadhyay has said, that when the result is declared, BJP
Yeah,
just
yeah,
prepares for the next election, for 2030 elections. That is
yeah.
also true.
Thanks, Prof Sanjay Kumar. But you made a very interesting point. I want to take this to Ashok Mishra. He seems to suggest there is a bigger game plan of BJP which is in place, which could almost sound like what happened in Maharashtra, that ultimately, there could be a threat to JDU on the whole. One thought earlier before the election that, JDU was really weak and Nitish was in trouble if he loses this election. But then having won this absolute majority, more than absolute majority, the JDU is now far more vulnerable. Is there any possibility that JD may itself transform in some form, and the Nitish, who he was also called as Palturam in the past because he could juggle, has that ended now? Do we see something new there?
Yeah, I will tell you one thing, very interesting thing which we are all discussing. Puneet also pointed out, and this gentleman he also pointed out that initially, in fact, if you see the past, the election began with BJP saying that they want to, in the discussion, political circle discussion, they used to say that BJP wants to establish its own rule in Bihar. So it's every development after that is I think it's and I presume I could see, I visualize that every development want to this end, to have its own government in Bihar. Now they did not declare Nitish Kumar as the chief ministerial candidate, which the BJP used to do in the past. This time they said categorically that the NDA legislature party will decide its chief ministerial candidate, and which is the fact right now. At the moment, also they are saying that no, the NDA legislature party will decide who is the chief ministerial candidate. So Nitish becoming the chief minister, it is still not clear, though they got the votes of, with the support of Nitish Kumar. Had Nitish been not there in the NDA, the BJP, in my opinion, would not have been able to get this number of seats. The nearly 90 seats which BJP has got for the first time. In 2010, it got 91 seats, whereas Nitish Kumar had got 115 seats, 115 seats. So together they had 206 seats, those 206. For the first time independently, BJP is becoming the single largest party in Bihar. So now, and as Puneet also pointed out, we have discussed in the previous session also, that if Nitish decides to walk out of this NDA and join hands with, as you said, become another Paltu Ram, tries another Paltu. So if you join hands with the RJD, the figures at the moment do not suggest that they will be able to form an alternative government, leaving the BJP out of the NDA, leaving the NDA. So this combination is not possible. Now, if they will not select Nitish Kumar as the chief ministerial candidate, I think the Bihar's politics is going to take a fast turn. And I will remind you about the 2005 February election, where nobody had got, it was a hung assembly and nobody had got the majority. Ramvilas Paswan had 29 seats in his hands, and he was not ready to side any of them. Had he been able to take side of any of the formations, the government would have been formed. but he denied that. He did not like Nitish Kumar. At the same time, he did not like Lalu also. So to just to throw away, he said that let there be a Muslim chief minister, and I'm going to whichever combination decides to make Muslim as a chief minister, I will go with them. So it was not possible, and the president's rule was installed in Bihar, clamped in Bihar, and in fact, eventually Nitish Kumar became the chief minister in October-November election in 2005. So this is the situation at the moment. I can presume if Nitish is not met the chief minister of Bihar this time with his 80 seats,
Yeah.
he has got 80 seats so far. So there, the politics of Bihar may take a new turn, which I presume, because the
Okay.
JDU will not like to withstand this political, dominance by the BJP, and so I think the politics may change if Nitish Kumar is not administered the oath of the chief minister of Bihar in after the election results are finally declared. So, this
Okay.
is
So you
so.
also
This
feel quickly, if you can just answer that, his party may not be strongly with Nitish. Nitish is a dominating, uh, you know, uh, character in his party, JD.
Yeah, people. In fact, we have been talking about that. There are many people in the JDU who are ready to become the chief minister. In fact, if you go to Munger, where Lalan Singh is an MP, there are talks in the Munger area in the political circles that Lalan Singh might be given the charge of the chief minister, just to so that the JDU MLAs don't rebel against the BJP. So these are the developments taking place behind the scene. People, these,
Yeah. Thanks. So you're saying there could be other challenges as well, and
right?
there are a lot of things which there are a lot of things cut out as work for Nitish even after winning this. I want to quickly come to Nilanjan now. Nilanjan is a very interesting factor here. Who got this mandate? Was it mandate for Nitish or is it for BJP? Or you think it's a combined mandate for NDA? Because obviously, from the likes of it, as you said earlier, it is all for Nitish. Probably he was seen as fighting a last, kind of an election. And, Bihar loves and respects its icons, as you said. But then, BJP has done phenomenally well here. The election wasn't as, if you take Ghuspetia, other than that, it wasn't polarized to that extent as we saw elsewhere. What is the factor which worked for BJP? Because, there was no great BJP leader in the state to be leading their campaign. It was actually all Modi Shah. What worked for BJP?
I think primarily they stitched a good alliance. Compared to 2020, this time all the parties were together. Chirag Paswan was back with the NDA, not dividing the votes. So I think that even the smaller parties, the initial problem, seat allocation, all that got sorted out in the NDA much faster than it did in the Mahabharata. It is not a positive vote for Nitish or for the BJP. It is also, it's actually, this mandate is a combination of mandates. It's a negative vote against the RJD led alliance. There is a negative that you are not yet rid of the label of Jungle Raj. You have to do something more. Widen the social base of RJD. It cannot be for 3 decades be stuck with the same caste combination. Look at the BJP. Look at the way it has made inroads. Say in Uttar Pradesh, for instance, look at the way it has cut into the base of the BSP among the Dalits. So you have to keep on expanding it, and you cannot be a lazy politician. That is the biggest thing. You have to actually look at figures all the time and see where you can grab how much, and then accordingly you make the changes. This is also, a vote for. It's a positive vote for Nitish because of the schemes. Look at the 10,000 rupee scheme. Which we have already discussed. Also, it's a kind of a sympathy wave for Nitish also. This, after all, he is ailing. The extent of which is open to debate, but there is actually an ailment. which is visible it was visible quite a bit in the last few years. Erratic behavior and all that. The more it was disparaged because of that, it's not his fault that he is down with some kind of an ailment from which there is possibly no cure. So people do not expect such leaders, to be, mocked, and that is what exactly happened as far as the whisper campaign went. So it was some kind of a sympathy that this is his last election. Let it not be a bad one. Let him,
So not so much a positive vote for BJP, but then they
not so
finished.
much a positive vote. BJP benefits because it has a fantastic organization, so it can grab wherever it has the openings. It had very skillfully contesting on the same number of seats as the JDU, and they had ensured by stitching a good alliance, they had ensured that the votes of every party is going to go to the other party, within the alliance. So that
Puneet,
is all that actually helped for the BJP.
right. Thanks. Nilanjan. I'll come to you, Puneet. You see, it's very interesting. You've been observing Congress closely. Do you think Rahul raises pertinent issues, but he's not able to give them a sense of completion? For instance, he raised this issue of census, and then Bihar conducted its own census, and it was very clear during that outcome that ECBs are more in number than what was traditionally thought to be, and upper caste weren't so much, and that certainly helped. A whole equation changing there. There is a politicians might have known earlier, but it was far more clearer because of that. It was very public then. Yet these communities chose not to vote for him.
Srini, I think on the caste census, my view after traveling around Bihar was that it was an interesting thing because I think the caste census push, in a way, has proved very counterproductive for the opposition in Bihar. In a lot of the areas where I visited, there was a sense that now that the numbers are in, now that we know what our strength is, we need fine. And Rahul and Tejashwi both did make a lot of noise in terms of giving, equitable bhagidari representation to these caste groups. But what happened is it did increase the aspirations, but the delivery from the alliance was not, nowhere near the aspirations that they had raised. So, a lot of the areas where I went, there you could sense that there was a bit of unease in terms of in the non-Yadav OBCs or even among especially among the EBCs, that you spoke so much for us, and then what did you do? So, whereas if you look at the way Nitish distributed his candidates, chose his candidates within that 101 that he has contested, he's got, if I'm not mistaken, I think 37 or 35 odd EBCs, 22 backward castes, and then about a little over half a dozen Muslims. And then, of course, also about 20 odd upper castes, which is the social arithmetic that the Grand Alliance should have actually been pushing for. On the other hand, when you look at the Grand Alliance's candidates, irrespective of which party, it's not just about the Congress. Look at the RJD, the left parties, including the CPI, ML Liberation, and RJD Congress, all of these. 50%, roughly 50% of upper caste candidates in the Congress. In the RJD, 145 seats that you're contesting, 52 of them are Yadavs. You've ended up winning only 20, as of now, at 2:50, 2:55 p.m. now. The RJD is leading only on 25 seats. So it's not even 50% of the number of Yadav candidates that they have fielded, including Tejashwi Yadav, who himself is trailing from Raghupur, and has been trailing consistently now. So, those castes, of course, it can be argued that while you may have made an early outreach to them, but you did not follow it up in the way that it was expected, and you've paid for that rather dearly.
Give a sense of completion to what he said earlier.
Yeah. So, and as far as the Congress is concerned, this has been a consistent problem. They may raise the right issue. Rahul may come and raise a good campaign, and then there is no follow-up. I'd mentioned about this in after the phase 2 polling too, that at the ground level, whether it is the PCC president, the CLP leader, the PCC office bearers, the MLAs, nobody follows up. And look at the result now.
Yeah. Puneet, I'll take another question on this, which is related to this. We earlier discussed what might happen to JDU in Bihar and Nitish. Similarly, what might happen now to Rahul, because he's been losing election after election. And then Bihar was considered a very important one in the heartland. That inability to score anything in heartland. Now, how do we see things going forward? Because once again, the performance has been much, much lower than what was anticipated, despite all the campaign initially.
Well, I'm certain that it has already begun. While we were, on this show, I've been getting some messages from some people in the Congress who I'm in touch with, and there's already a lot of resentment. Look at the campaign and all that. Rahul, after the voter Adhikar Yatra, which did, kind of attract a lot of attention, did create some goodwill also, and that ended on the 17th of September or thereabouts. And after that, for over a month, Rahul disappeared from Bihar. He returned to Bihar only on the 29th of October to address a rally. And then, the elections got over and he's gone abroad again. Today, when he should have been here, he should have, perhaps come out and spoken to the press on what he says, thinks about the result, or at least given out a message to people in Bihar on what, maybe even admitting that we got it wrong. He's not in the country. So there will be voices. But then the problem is that the Congress needs, it's not just about Rahul, it's the entire collective functioning of the party that needs an overhaul, which is long due and which has not been happening. And, from the grassroots up, they may be talking about Sangathan Srijan and all now for the last 6 or 8 months. But if you actually talk to the Congress observers who've been sent for these Sangathan Srijan campaigns, for, the grassroots survey of appointment of DCC presidents and whatnot, all of them will come and tell you that, no, this is all humbug. It's all, being done that's pretty much the same way it was being done earlier. The only kind of consolation that the Congress might draw right now today, and Rahul might draw today, perhaps, is that the route is so expansive for the Grand Alliance that it's not just the Congress. Of course, the Congress has again proved to be a very weak link for the alliance. Out of the 60 seats that they contested, they're currently leading on only 4, which is even lower than Asaduddin Owaisi's MIM or, Jitanram Manjhi's Hum. But then so have the other allies performed as poorly. So, they may say that, it's not just we who got washed out and swept away. It's everybody else in the alliance too.
Yeah, thanks, Puneet. Now, Dr. Sanjay Kumar, I want to come back to you to ask a question. There are 2 issues which are significant in Bihar. One is the issue of migration. People go out to get jobs because as the economy is concerned, Bihar is one of the most backward with very low GDP. And they travel out to get jobs and they get exposure. They see how things have changed elsewhere and they come back. And there is a huge contribution they do to the local economy. because there are only two engines, I'm told, with which the Bihar economy runs. One is migration, and second is the grants largely given by the center, because very little manufacturing, largely agri-based. So there are problems there. Now, that is one factor which cuts across caste, other things, social equations, because a whole lot of people go out on migration. The other factor which cuts across is women, safety of women, Jungle Raj, because Eve teaser doesn't, distinguish between various castes. He does this, bad act whenever he does. So these are two major factors there. So when you said caste and class, can you clarify what is the factor which basically played an important role in this election? If you can be brief about it.
So far, the first issue is concerned migration. Uh, no doubt it has affected, but it has not affected as much as it was expected. Because uh, if they have gone out of Bihar for the sake of employment, then they should not have voted for this government. Very much clear, because at present this government is there in power, and responsibility to establish industries and other small scale employment generation uh, is the responsibility of this government, clear cut on the first side. They have it means they have not voted against this government. And so far this women is concerned, they have also not voted against this government. But in the in that women section, there, I think, some women also, what I have come across, that they have no doubt got benefited by this present government, but they have voted against this government for Mahagathbandhan. So this thing is also there. But broadly speaking, you are very much right that here caste doesn't cut across so far this women lot is concerned. But so far migration is concerned, here caste definitely cut across. And otherwise, you see, those people must have voted against this government. I am very much confident they must have, but they didn't. So it means they have voted in favor of government. Uh, this is a scenario. Otherwise, intense investigations should be research
Okay. Yeah.
should take place to,
Yeah.
and it will come up. And one thing also sure that what result we are getting from election commission, we are just admitting it to be very much fair. So only with the lapse of time, it will come out whether it's true or it is fabricated or scripted. This may be the chance. With all responsibility, I am saying this thing because it has also started. People have also started just talking about this aspect of the election also.
Okay. It's a very significant point you made. I now want to take it to Nilanjan. One broad question which you want to ask and associated with what Dr. Sanjay Kumar ended his remarks with. How do you see this panning out for all India politics? Because SAR now is going to go into other states. It is coming to West Bengal. It is also coming to Tamil Nadu. And all other election facing states will face it next 2-3 years. And Bihar was expected that in some way it will be challenged. Those issues will be challenged, which was being raised by opposition, and there would be some kind of an outcome. But what do you see from this landslide? How is it politics is like to pan out in rest of India now going forward?
Well, as far as SIR is concerned, which is slightly different from the political question you have raised, there is panic wherever SIR is being held, for a variety of reasons. I got a call from a cousin of mine that in Bengal, majority of people who have to submit photographs, official photographs, passport size photographs, have never got it taken because there was never any need for it, and there aren't any enough photographers in the state left. You know that the business has declined, so there are fewer photo studios now compared to what used to be there 10 years or 15 years ago. So photographers are giving appointment, you know, the way doctors give for appointments 4 days, 5 days later at very peculiar slotted times. They are also being hard work. Uttar Pradesh is also going through a SIR. I live in Uttar Pradesh. I'm a voter in one of the constituencies in Uttar Pradesh. So far, it's from the 4th of November it has been started. It's almost 12 days, but we have not heard or not even been able to get the name of the BLO with whom we are supposed to establish contact and go where. These are certain things, which in urban Uttar Pradesh, which have been taken for granted. But now you will find that people are already beginning to press the panic button. Because I think, not existing as an elector of India is possibly one of the biggest loss of identity in this country. Various kinds of identity losses are there, including this of not being included in the voters list. So that is something. As far as the political bit is concerned, yes, this is definitely going to strengthen the BJP. It is going to strengthen Mr. Modi personally. The Lok Sabha elections of 2024 is now a distant dream. You have had three consecutive elections. Leave out Jharkhand; it's a smaller state, not really Uttar, but the main heartland state. Haryana again also not an heartland state, but yes, it is an important state in North India. So Haryana, Maharashtra, and Bihar, the BJP has got it along with its allies in a fairly formidable way. It is also going to silence the alliance partners within the NDA at the center. So I think, and in any case, we have seen that the alliance partners, even in the period when the BJP and Mr. Modi were unsure of their position, they did not actually exert their position, numerical strength in the parliamentary party of the NDA there. There is nothing called the formal body of the NDA. It does not have a coordination committee. There aren't any meetings to discuss what the government is going to be decided. This government still runs on the writ of one, and that is only going to get more reinforced after this, that only the writ of one is going to run in this country. And that is what is the main takeaway from this election.
Thank you, Nilanjan. Thanks everyone on the panel for this discussion. As results come out finally by tomorrow, I think the full result will come out. Right now, only the trends have come. We'll know more. We'll get more data, more granular information on what has actually happened. But it is very clear that the whole election is moving in one direction. And as Nilanjan said, also we're going to see a polity at the center, which is going to be with the BJP and its leaders playing a far more dominant role. Thank you so much for this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.